You're ready to be premature all over again.
Wow, that's impressive.
Quick
bro.
reset.
Yeah.
Quick reset.
Last night was Ramos Jizz.
Freudian slip.
Who knew the job was pro bono?
I was so high that I shit myself at some point.
Okay, I can still hear somebody. Everybody mute. Goddamn it, you're killing me.
My SEAL Team 6 went to SEAL Team 12.
There's nothing wrong with punching above your weight.
I thought you'd get better.
Well,
I don't know what's
also-
worse. You're a ginger or you've been vaccinated.
You sit around and drink and solve the world's problems, right?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here once again. The Four Horsemen are in the studio. I'm happy to be here. Hopefully, they're happy to be here. It's an exciting time. We've got something very important we'd like to talk to you about. But before we get started, I'm just going to ask, how's everybody doing?
As cool as the other side of the pillow.
That's it.
Oh, Stuart Scott, I miss him.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Little throwback. Yep.
Yeah,
But that is
was
nice,
great.
right? When you're laying on a pillow and it's hot and you flip it
Oh,
over and then you're
bro.
like,
Flip it over.
Bro.
Oh, it's the best.
It is
Yeah.
the best, especially like if you have a satin pillowcase.
there's
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
better when you first climb into a bed and it's cold, like the sheets are cold and you're like, because you know you're going to warm up.
I'm pretty sure I don't think you're having sex right then.
Mm.
If you say there's nothing better than that, I think you're
All
doing
right,
something.
let's
wrong,
not
dude.
start going backwards. We are moving forward. Gentlemen, I'm glad you are here.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm glad you're here. Let's go ahead and jump into our drinks. I'm going to go first. So, it's been some days. It's been a while. I sent out a recipe to the boys, and I know we're not all trying it today, but I sent out a recipe for a drink. It was actually I don't even know what you call it. This infusion, this lemonade infusion, and it was simply lemonade. If you ever go to the store, any store, and they carry simply lemonade, it was simply lemonade. You pour out about a third of it. Or you drink it, you pour it out, you fuck what you do with it. You add tequila, and then you slice strawberries and you slice jalapenos. You put it in, and then you leave it for 24 to 48 hours in the fridge, and you consume. Now, I made this a week ago, and I was at least smart enough when I made it, unlike some people. After about 48 hours, I pulled out the fruit and the jalapeno because I didn't want that turning to shit in the alcohol. And then I just left it in the fridge, and I was ready to go. So today, I made a margarita with it. By and large, it's just it's a sweet and sour mix. I mean, it's lemonade and it's infused with jalapeno for a little kick and strawberries. And so I made a margarita because I have a margarita machine. And so I made a margarita.
Bastard.
Yes. I know it doesn't have the same. Wait a minute. That's kind of nice.
That looks frothy.
That's
Are you gonna
kinda
let
nice.
that? Are you just gonna put that in there and let it soak?
It could. Now, when you drink it, if you've had it, it does have a little kick with the jalapeno, which I like. And I was surprised. And Grinch, I know when you made it, you said you left the fruit a little long.
I did, yeah, and it was good. It would have been better had it not had like a mushy strawberry,
In it.
taste to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I really like this, and I will do this again. I bought some more Simply Lemonade, and I bought some blackberries, and I'm going to try a different concoction with vodka as opposed to tequila, and we'll see how that goes. But that's what I'm drinking: a tequila strawberry jalapeno infused margarita. So that's what I'm doing. All right, Grinch, what about you, brother? What are you drinking tonight?
Well, as you all know, this afternoon was not exactly the smooth transition from work that I had having to go get stitches, but here we are. Actually, I'm just drinking our ready to make drink, our Kentucky Buck strawberry. It is very, very good. It's delicious. So
So you
I'm
say.
really looking forward to trying
Yeah.
these.
So you
Yeah,
say.
you and
All
the
of
rest of the
them.
world. I don't think they exist, brother.
I
I'm
mean-
telling you.
He sends out
So-
photoshopped imagery of them, but who
Right.
knows if
With
they're
some,
real.
so there's some random number. I go into the ABC store today, and the guy looks at me like, "The
What?
fuck are you talking about?"
When he
it's
sends that
in
out,
the manual.
I think
that's the back of the manual. They can literally fucking look it up.
he
That guy's
sends
not
this
bright enough to know
picture.
that he shouldn't.
I
work
did.
there.
I'm just playing. I'm just picking.
I was
on
like,
you.
I was
I
about to
honestly
say.
didn't go in.
Grinch is like, give me his number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call somebody.
Yeah.
You send this
He's gonna
picture
drive to
out,
Mid Hill tonight. He's gonna be like, these motherfuckers trying to,
and they all every flavor sounds amazing. And I'm
Right?
looking at this, and I'm
and they
thinking,
don't exist. They're a
I'm thinking
unicorn.
Grinch sends this, and all I can hear in my head is the old Eddie Murphy. I got some ice
Ice
cream.
cream.
I got
And
some
you ain't
ice,
got
and
none.
you ain't got none. And I'm
You
thinking,
can't afford it.
So I
We're
thought,
working on
honestly,
it.
I thought the numbers at the bottom were like zip codes, in which
No,
I mean, I
they're-
didn't know what the fuck that was.
It's how that's the back of the quarterly like book that goes out to all the ABC stores. So if a
To
customer
order.
comes in and says, "Hey, can you order?" They can find it
Okay.
alphabetically or by the number, and that's how they know what they want to order.
Mac, you need to tell somebody they need to fucking get to getting.
Well,
Send that
you
send
know,
that demand
as,
signal, son.
That's right.
as soon as I can get out of the house, I'll be doing that.
There you go. All right.
Running
So
around
you're
licking some
just
faces, and telling people what to do.
Right.
Damn right.
so you're just drinking a ready-made Kentucky Buck,
Kentucky
the
Buck,
bourbon
yep.
one. Okay.
Strawberry Kentucky
I was gonna
Buck.
say because that was pink. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's okay.
I mean,
You could have lied
mean,
and said it was your
it's
lemon or
no
lemonade.
White
but
Claw, but it'll do.
what's wrong with White Claw? Nothing.
No.
Nothing. All right. Let's move on. Mac, what about you, brother? What are you drinking?
I'm just doing a tequila sunrise today, which is actually almost gone.
Yeah, because you were
Because,
sitting here just
somebody showed
drinking
up
and drinking.
a little late. So yeah, just some Hornitas tequila, simply orange juice instead of simply lemonade and grenadine.
Hey, get that
It
vitamin
didn't really
C.
mix right.
Right?
Well, that was the idea, right? So with the COVID, I was like, well, I'm gonna make a drink. I should probably get some vitamin C in it at least, so I feel better. I don't think it's really working yet, but
You should probably go get another one.
I should probably change my ratio and go more tequila than orange juice.
Exactly. All right. So there you go. Haas, I know you're not drinking because Haas is not only high on life, but he's coupled with pain medication. So he's not allowed to drink right now, unfortunately. So he's not
I
joining
would
us.
like to point out
Well,
how old we all are right now. Yeah, one of us all hobbled up with stitches, one with COVID, one on meds.
Not me, brother.
Well, as
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, wait,
You
the
gotta-
youngest. I noticed the
Yeah,
youngest.
it's coming.
Oh,
Give it a
is.
year.
as Doc said, he's like, the doctors just don't want you having lots of fun.
That's what it is. All right. Well, cheers, gentlemen. I am thankful that you all are here.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm glad we're all here and body parts are still attached
Yes.
and nobody's
It's a
bleeding
flesh
out
wound.
on the floor.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Not anymore.
I was gonna say because that looked a lot worse than when you first sent it and said, "Oh, I cut my leg," and I looked down. And then you sent the picture. I was like,
What was it,
"You didn't-
6
you didn't have a
stitches?
It's
gash."
5. Yeah, it was
Five.
5.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty good little
Yeah,
cut.
yeah, it was a little gnarly.
You'll pay attention next time.
Overachiever.
Yeah.
Strikes
All right.
again.
So let's go ahead and go to work and jump into today's topic. So we did an episode about the World Cup back when the men played. And so we decided the women are currently playing. We would do an episode related to the women's national team that are currently competing in the Women's World Cup. They are 2-time defending World Cup champions, and they are in New Zealand, Australia for the 2023 Women's World Cup. And so,
Like shit.
so that is part of the discussion, maybe. But Grinch sent out an article earlier and actually today. And so we had this great topic all lined up for you. Let me just go ahead and tell you. I mean, it was going to be a fucking banger. And then what does Grinch do? He throws a spanner in the works because he sends out a fucking article that nobody's expecting and commentary to go along with it. And then suddenly the text chain just devolves into chaos. And we're like, let's pivot.
Well,
so here we are.
And let's be honest, I was ready to go for the other one, and I didn't really want to talk a whole lot tonight. But the two of you going back and forth, I was like, let's poke this bear a little bit and see what we can come up
Just
with. I think this is going to be
step out.
fun.
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about. So Grinch sends out this article, and in the article, it was really just it was Carly Lloyd, who is a former player for the women's national team, an incredible player, standout player, nearly 20 years with the women's national team. And she was lambasting the national team because of their performance as of late in the first 3 games of group stage at the World Cup. But tied to that, Grinch made a comment. Grinch, I'm going to let you make the comment or explain your comment, and then I'll explain what my follow-up was, and then how we managed to land in this topic. So explain, because the thing was, she was critical of the team and the way they were playing, and then you made a comment. What was it?
Well, all right. So the article is Carly Lloyd. Opponents can, quote, see the arrogance in the U.S., unquote. And what followed was her criticism of the team's performance and its heart, and how she took issue with the fact they seemed to be more concerned with pre-game TikTok videos or whatever rather than focused. Now,
Their followers on Instagram and social
she's
media.
also the one that said, the right upright was, the woman of the match, because had that was it Portugal had the Portuguese striker hit that, the U.S. would be going home.
Going home.
And And so I had to go back and look. I said, I agree, completely agree. And if you won't sing the national anthem for the country you represent, then you can fuck right off.
Yes.
And it just went downhill from there.
It did. And oftentimes, for those of you as our listeners that don't know, this is what happens. It will be just a comment like that, not innocuous. I mean, it is a critical comment, and it is an important one that you made for yourself and your belief system. And it will devolve into just a chain of unintended events that occur in the text chain. And then we'll land on a topic such as this.
Others of us will look down and be like, 34 missed messages.
What
What
the
the
fuck?
No,
fuck?
that's exactly what
That was
happened.
like 10 seconds ago. I checked.
Whoa.
I was on a work
Chat's
call and
lit.
I looked down and I saw 30 freaking messages. I was like, what is going on over here? Because I
Right.
needs to know.
We had a banger.
Yeah, we did. So look, in principle, I don't disagree with the article and the criticism that she levies against the team in terms of their play and where their focus is and how the team operated back when she was a kind of a standard bearer for the team and her play. But your comment about the national anthem is what sparked the rest of the commentary that occurred in the text chain. And so that's what I really wanted to focus on, because we can make the argument about quality play, shit play, whatever, but that is an entirely different conversation from whether or not singing the national anthem is a necessary element if you are chosen, or I think as you put it, you carry the honor of representing your country in an event such as this. So of course,
and here, let me ask you this. What is the antithesis behind not doing it? What is it? Because they just got paid, like paid. All the women players are getting like massive amounts of money equal to, if not greater than what the men are getting. So what are the injustices now that?
okay. If that's if that's the basis by which we're going to measure this, then that is absolutely an untrue statement. Women get paid this year, are getting paid 25 cents for every dollar their male counterpart in the sport earns at the World Cup. In 2019, they made 8 cents for every dollar their male counterpart made.
Okay, but hold on. I also want to talk about that the monies that are gathered off the Women's World Cup versus what are gathered off the Men's World Cup are also exponentially different too.
Well,
yes,
right, there's a fuck ton more money generated in revenue for the Men's World Cup than there is the Women's World Cup.
The bottom line is, though, you don't have to pay. You don't have to go play. So if you don't like the way you're getting paid, hey, you know what? I'm not going. That's how you make a statement. If you can't field a team that's got any quality, then maybe you'll look at saying, okay, well, now we'll start paying them a more, I don't want to say livable wage, but a more comparative wage to the men's team. And I absolutely, don't get me wrong, I think they should. I mean, I see where they're coming from, but not singing the national anthem has nothing to do with that at all.
I will say this. I don't have my list, Grinch, and I apologize. I have shit the bed and failed you in so many ways. I don't have my fallacy list right now, Mac, but I'm pretty sure what you just said there, not getting paid, just don't show up, and then that'll change the outcome. I believe that's a fallacy. I don't know which one. I can't quote it. I can't tell you, but not going won't get them more money. Because
well, guess what? Not singing the national anthem won't get you more money either.
No,
so
but
if you had to pick the two, one is going to have more weight than the other.
The
and
question
if you choose
was,
to go to play, and why am I being more damn
vocal than
this is Grinch's thing?
Look,
right?
The question was, why were they not singing? The answer to that was they were trying to silently protest the injustices they feel both in gender equality of pay within the sport.
Okay, but
but
that's already been solved.
But it hasn't. Obviously,
but it has because they've already said they're going to get paid.
Well, it's not that they're
changed. They've already changed the breakdown of how they're going to get paid after this cycle.
Right, but you also have
and wasn't there also some backward reparations made as well?
But we're talking about what they're getting paid at the World Cup. Part of what they're doing is also what are they getting paid in the National Women's Soccer League here in the United States versus what their male counterparts are getting paid in Major League Soccer.
Okay, what are they drawing revenue wise?
That I don't know.
See, that's my whole thing is it's not apples. It's not apples to apples. It's apples to I don't know, kumquats or
Of
something.
course.
A guy in the
And
Canadian
nobody's
Football
making-
League isn't getting paid the same as a guy in the NFL.
And to
Right.
Because
go
there's a
further,
different draw.
the problem I have is there's a time and place, right?
And this was 100% the time and place.
No,
Disagree.
it was not.
100%
I do.
disagree.
See,
And
I
that's
go,
your
Not even
opinion.
close.
I go
Yeah.
back to
No, it's fact.
there isn't the
is.
separation between the two issues of their performance and the singing. I think
I-
it's all connected in the heart of the team. And like where I'm standing is you're wearing the US colors. You don't get to fucking check out on your honor and representing your country because you've got issues. You can do that in the soccer league. You can do it anywhere else.
Not
But
on the national stage.
When you like for
You know.
I equate, and the rear I come from is I equate it to being in uniform. There are certain things you cannot do while you're in uniform because you're representing your nation. You can vote, you can do whatever you want in your own private, not representing the army, but they are representing the U.S. women's national team. And like I said, if they don't want to sing, they can fuck off.
And
I
that's your
don't
opinion,
care,
and you
like a
are
Colin
entitled to
Kaepernick.
it.
Took no issue. Support the guy. I think what happened to him was bullshit. No issues with that. But when you're on the world stage and you're shaming your own country, fuck off.
No, I'm
Taxpayer
100%.
money's funding
And not
that
just
whole
that, but
thing.
it's also showing up
Yeah.
on the field, right? Like,
And,
I mean,
and I know Thor like this, right? You know, let me see the Chinese national team do that. You won't see him again. That'll
Or
be
the
end
North
of that.
Korea.
Or the North Korean team,
Well,
right? That'll
and
be
here's the
end of
thing.
That.
This is absolutely the perfect stage, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the National Women's Soccer League Championship match, 915,000 people tuned in to watch that game. 915,000. In 2019, on the Women's World Cup, 1.12 billion showed up to watch that. The difference in terms of viewership, I mean, 915,000 from 1.1 billion, that's 0.0817% of 1.12 billion. You're not, whoa. You're not getting the viewership. All celebrities use the platform at their disposal.
You're not a
to-
celebrity when you're representing your country. That's what.
Agreed.
That's where I take issue.
you're supposed to be
Your
part of
country
a
is
team,
bigger
and
than
a
you.
unit. Yeah.
And again, if that's the stage you choose, I'm perfectly fine with you doing it. If
I'm
you
not.
feel that your protest is valid, nonviolent, and it can make a
I
statement.
don't care. It's
Well,
not.
let me
It's
be
not
clear.
the time
And
place
again,
for
and
that.
that's
Nobody told them
fine.
they couldn't. Nobody has stopped.
Look, with all
We
of
live
the
in a country where you
platforms-
absolutely can protest.
With
we,
all the
we live in a
platforms-
country where we give those people the right to be able to do
No.
that. In North Korea,
they're-
like Max said, North
They're
Korea,
wearing
China, you don't
a
get
uniform right now.
bro.
I
and that
cannot
doesn't
protest.
matter.
I
You
cannot
use it.
protest
You
if I'm
use
wearing
your
uniform.
platform at your disposal.
No, I cannot. If I'm in the army, I cannot protest.
Oh, no. But
They're
that's being
wearing
in the
a
army.
uniform. That's my point. They are there on behalf of the nation. No other reason.
You
They
were
couldn't even
representing
get there
a specific
without the
body.
nation behind them.
Yeah.
And so back to
But
Carly
for the
Lloyd's
fact
arrogance,
that you're not there for representing your name, you're not there, so
Yeah.
you don't have a platform.
I said they can fuck off. I
Mhm.
want to be proud of them, but they can fuck off. That's not the platform. I don't
You keep-
support it. I don't cheer for it or applaud.
And if they
You-
were winning, would you care? Or
Absolutely.
the
I
fact that
think
it's
so.
coupled with the fact that they're playing like shit, so it looks like they're
I-
only playing for themselves and not the team, would you have as much criticism?
Well, to me, yes, because I think what Carly Lloyd was saying is the two go hand in hand. Their heart and dedication to the team is not the same
They're more
when
worried
they
about making
kick
a
off
protest.
every match with going, I'm not going to sing. That's a conscious choice they're making. So that's where their head is while they're sitting there silently with like Alex Morgan and one or two others mouthing the words.
Not Julie.
I think it is
Julie. She was
Yeah.
married. Ertz. Julie Ertz.
Ertz. Yeah,
And
she
then
makes that
somebody
much.
else, Haran or something like that, were singing. And again, yes, you come from a different perspective. I never served in the military. I don't have that background to sit there and go, well, you're in a uniform, yada yada yada. So I absolutely respect it. And I said in the text, I completely understand your point. I think they should sing, but I'm also not chastising them for not singing because it's the platform currently at their disposal. Now, if they're not there, then you're right. They don't get to make that, but they are there. They were chosen for whatever fucking reason. They're supposed to be the best at their position. The coaches, the United States Soccer Federation got together and said, these are the 11 best players, and that's who we're going to field as a team. And so they chose to take that opportunity, knowing they will never reach another audience like the audience they currently have. And my only criticism with you, Grinch, is you're making a connection that doesn't exist because Carly Lloyd never made a comment about the national anthem in that article. Now, she may have somewhere else and I didn't read it and you may have seen it, and
No,
I will apologize 100%
I'm the
if
one
that's
who
the
made the
case.
connection.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said it in text, you have 11 people playing for themselves, not 11 people playing for the team. Excuse me. But I don't think the national anthem is the linchpin that is creating this problem. And I said it in a text. Me going to church doesn't make me a better or worse Christian. Me singing the national anthem doesn't make me a better or worse American or patriot. And what's interesting is to hear you guys say the things you're saying. Well, I won't say all three of you. I know at least some of you have chastised and derided the fact that we are currently in this cancel culture mentality. And yet here you are wanting to cancel this very thing because you don't agree with the stance.
No one's trying to cancel anybody.
But that's exactly what you're saying. This shouldn't be happening.
I'm not trying to end anybody's career and ruin their livelihoods. I believe in what they're doing and I support what they're doing. I'm just saying the time and the place is not correct.
Then where would you do it? Where you can get the
they all
loudest
have
microphone?
Tons of followings and social medias, and they can reach out to any news outlet they want at any time and get
way more than
I mean, they
the
can
Women's
do
World Cup.
all sorts of things to get attention and bring attention to this.
I come back to the what are you accomplishing? And I don't care what the viewership is. You're using a platform your country gave. That's selfish. It's fucking putting yourself before your country. And that's why I think is a mentality with that team. They're not giving to something to make it greater than themselves.
Right.
And that's what I see on the field right now. Maybe there is no connection. I'm obviously not in the locker room. So it is easier to criticize, but they could be winning and doing this, and I would criticize because I just don't think down to my core you use what your nation has given you as an opportunity to self-promote, aggrandize an issue. It's
more importantly, by not singing the national anthem.
Right.
So I mean, I think to your point, you're taking this opportunity that was given to you by the country and then slapping the country right back in the face.
Yeah. I mean, you're in the greatest nation in the fucking world and you have the audacity to stand in front of these other nations and not sing your own fucking national anthem.
But that's the beauty of our country is we can allow you to do that. You can do that to make a statement. Not when you're
representing your country.
And I disagree with that.
Your time as a private citizen.
Now, I will say this, though, based on what you said, Haas, 100% disagree with using another platform. One of the most popular players on the U.S. women's national team is Megan Rapinoe. I don't even know how you say it. Rapinoe. 2.1 million followers on social media. And here she's got a platform of 1.12 billion people. She's never going to reach that through her own followership.
Yeah, but hold on, stop. First of all, the people she's trying to speak to and get her point across aren't even in the 1 point however many billion.
Because they're not watching.
All those people don't care because they're from other countries and don't give a shit. The people they're trying to get their point across to are U.S. officials and citizens.
Who are 100%. You're telling me that the U.S. officials in soccer are not watching?
No, you're missing my point. You're throwing out numbers of 1 point this and 2 point, 1 million versus 2 billion or whatever, right? My point is this. This is not the effective manner in which to do this because, first of all, you're taking away from what you're trying to accomplish, I feel like, by showing that you're selfish and showing that you're not team-oriented and country, driven
centric.
With respect. Right. The 1.5 billion or whatever you said, a majority of those are international individuals
100%.
and nations and countries.
Right.
They don't give a shit about what you're protesting. And they don't care now. They're not going to care a week or a month from now. Right. So you're using your energy and you're using your efforts and platforms inefficiently and not in the proper manner or stage. She has these platforms. Megan Rapinoe has been one of those people who's been able to make things happen through other ways. What was it? There was a bar, I want to say, in San Antonio or something that she sponsored, with her partner. I want to say for LGBTQ rights within the city. I mean, she's done things. She's done things in fashion. She's forward thinking. Like, she's done a ton of stuff. And so have some of these other individuals through the appropriate means and the appropriate time. This ain't it. Because I can tell you, I believe this to be true. If the men were doing this, I'd be equally pissed.
Yeah, but the men
This
suck.
has nothing to do with. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But again, I
that's a
think
side
it's not
conversation.
about winning or losing, honestly, in my opinion. It's about the fact that I think the Grinch you were given this stage by your country to go play and represent your country. And then you're basically, I mean, how is it any different than burning the American flag? Would you be okay with that if they did that?
Burning the
I'll
American
say
flag.
this.
I have no
Yeah.
attachment to the American flag. You can set fire to it. You can
You,
turn it into a fucking hat for all. Like, you know what I'm saying? My patriotism doesn't reside
I mean,
in that
short
symbol.
of turning it into a bikini, I think you got problems with any of the other stuff you
Hmm.
said. I think
No,
you're
but
okay
I'm
there.
just saying.
ain't stuffing nothing in a bikini.
My patriotism isn't tied to that. It sure as fuck isn't tied to the national anthem. And that's what I'm saying. Like making the analogy, the connection, like with religion. I shouldn't have to go to church to be considered a good Christian. My connection with whatever that is my personal business and in my personal approach. I don't sing the national anthem. I don't stand up and do that. I mean, we go to games. I stand up because, everybody stands up.
So you do it because of peer pressure.
Of course, but I don't sing the
Okay.
national anthem mainly because I don't, it's like you waffle through the middle. You start out strong, you end strong, but you waffle through the middle because who the fuck knows what they're actually saying. But my connection to patriotism isn't tied to the national anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance.
People at the Bank of America
Like,
Stadium.
yeah, there's
one night.
75,000 people know what they're saying.
Because I got to tell you, that was a chilling night when the mic went out and everybody started singing.
And that's perfectly
your
fine.
American national, your national women's team can't even sing.
But again, that's perfectly fine. I'm just saying, for me personally, I don't have that attachment, and I don't think that is where patriotism is derived from. And that's my problem is where
no, not necessarily derived from, but respected and appreciated.
I just want to continue to draw the line again, though. It as a private citizen, whatever patriotism means to you, to a degree, obviously doesn't mean sack the Capitol,
right.
But it is.
Well,
I don't.
It used to not.
I mean, now the symbols mean a lot. They do.
To you, absolutely.
I
don't
love
doubt
that flag. I love singing the national anthem. And it's not that I'm blindly loyal. It's I believe in what I think it can represent. And like I said, when you put on what I consider a uniform, because they are wearing uniforms, you've now consciously said, I'm going to not represent my nation to the fullest because I don't think it's at its fullest. Well, okay, well, it managed to get you to a fucking World Cup. Is there any gratitude for that? I mean, you're playing a fucking sport as a profession. Like, I mean, how many of them do you think probably were in pretty good homes getting like farmed up through soccer most of their careers? I mean,
probably most
did
of
they
them.
all go through some terrible trials and tribulations? I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'm just saying it's like a switch. You flip it, you are now engaged on behalf of your nation. You step off that field. If you want to flip it back off, the military will tell you that's not what you can't do that.
Well, here's the
you
way
can't
I see
just
it.
flip it as a switch. You need to be smarter about how you communicate and engage if it's related to politics and things like that.
It's no different than any of us. When you are considered a professional, you act like a professional when you're doing your job.
Yeah, there's
you act in the decorum in which you think of
do.
professionalism, exists.
Yeah, and again, I take issue with the making the connection with Colin Kaepernick. He is a paid professional.
Mm-hmm.
He is rolling the dice with his money. I didn't take issue. I support him. And again, I think it's shitty what happened to him because I don't think he meant ill by what he did as you unpack the story with what inspired him and who he spoke with. But
on the flip side, he was getting paid wearing a uniform
in FL.
And now, that person could make the decision to say, you know what? You do not represent what I think this team should represent when you're wearing the uniform. So fuck off, get lost.
Obviously,
that's what
32
happened.
check riders said no.
Right. I guess it's an unfair comparison, and I know you're drawing it, and I know that's the world you live in, drawing the military comparison, because you spend 365 days a year being in the military, being conditioned to not I won't say think or behave a certain way because you're a human being. You're gonna, you think your own way. But these men and women are not working for the United States 365 days a year. They're out doing their own thing. They get picked up and they train for a couple of months. And then
when they're not,
you know what I'm saying?
for
You're
the
asking them to
US,
flip that
they
switch.
can do whatever they want to do. But
But
when
they're
they're
not
working for the
conditioned
US,
that way.
figure it the fuck out. They're
Yeah,
adults.
yeah, exactly.
I'm
you're
sorry.
a professional
You're
and
not-
you're a grown
yeah,
person.
you're
No,
professional.
and
Like, you know,
you
and
have to be
here's the
smart
thing.
enough to know
The opposite
the
would
difference.
be true is if when all of a sudden they're winning all this stuff, they're going to be waving the American flag around and, you know, hooping and hollering about it like that. Then they're going to be proud to be an American. Then they're going to be, you know, a patriot.
And did they not go to the White House in 2019?
I know some of them turned it down because I know Rapino turned it down.
Yeah,
she
and
several others did. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So is that not an issue in terms of, well, you represented your country and that's something that you do?
Well,
To
there's
me,
been a
that's
lot
not
of
as much
there's
of a
been a lot
thing,
of
though.
athletics that have turned it down because of the controversies of who was there.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I guess that was a different form of protest. I would say if you were attending the White House, that's a pretty good opportunity to voice your
do
fucking
something.
concerns.
Right.
Well, and
But-
that's a privileged opportunity that I think as an individual, right, you have to
Yeah,
decide.
I mean,
whether
to
or
me,
not you
it's expected.
To go,
You know,
right.
it's expected. Obviously, she said no, and nobody made her do otherwise. Back to the kind of country we are.
Right.
I mean, I don't think anybody's going to get fired over this, or they're not going to make the cut necessarily. And I'm not suggesting it should be. I still think there's a correlation between where their heads is and how they're functioning as a team and their connection to their pride
or,
as an
or
individual.
not
Their
functioning as
focus,
the
their
case may be.
focus is somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's very possible. I just said I didn't know if you had read something that you didn't send out because I didn't see
No.
that Carly had made a comment about the national anthem. That's why I was wondering. Because honestly, I was a little blindsided because I read the article and there was your comment about them not singing and fuck off. I'm like, where is he getting this? Like, because it wasn't in that article. So I actually went out and
there were
Googled.
other articles that were like,
Yes.
Game 3, still
Right.
no singing, you know.
Yeah. But I didn't know that till I went out and Googled. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why. And again, I'll throw this out there because I was surprised. I put it in text. We are all husbands of women, fathers of daughters. If your daughter was to go do that, you all, well, Haas, I don't think you chimed in, Haas, but Mac, Grinch, you both said unequivocally, immediately out of the gate, no, I would not support my daughter if she did that. I mean, I find that hard to swallow because I know the two of you.
Not
You may
hard
be
to swallow
pissed
at
off
all.
in the background,
Yeah,
but
you can unlock your jaw,
No,
take it all
they're
in.
not going to hear the words out of my mouth. Sort of different specific scenarios we can envision of just, you were representing your country and chose not to sing. You have my support. That phrase is not coming out of me. It's not.
okay. And that's fine. I was just curious. It surprised me. I was like, wow, okay. And again, I don't have the military background. I didn't spend 20 plus years serving the country in that way. So you may, and maybe if you hadn't, you would still have that belief system ingrained in you, regardless of I'm not saying it was the military that did it, but
I mean, it would be a conversation of like, you need to understand, I consider that disrespectful to 20 years of service. And for the people who fought and
Well,
died for that
I
flag
was
to
going
be
to
on
say,
your shoulder.
it's not even just your 20 years of service.
Yeah.
To us, that's very important because it's personal to us, but it's every other man and woman
Right.
that has served.
And-
to me, it's spitting on their shoes and their graves, and I
Right,
just
right,
it doesn't
exactly. I
sit
mean,
well with me.
in my core, that's what's being dishonored. And so that's why it resonates with me like that. When you're representing your nation, I can dislike them personally, but when they turn on the professional hat and go, I am now in this mode, I have certain things that are, obligations, if you will. You hope they're not obligations. You hope they come from the heart and they want to be done. I'm just not seeing that. And so therefore, it's hard to cheer for a team when this is the thing that keeps coming up.
right. And honestly, I mean, for me personally, the fact that you served 20 plus years in the military, I'm grateful because I feel like you doing that gives me the ability in this country to silently protest by not singing the national anthem. And I know you don't agree with that, but the fact that you did,
we keep leaving a pretty key caveat off of it. When representing your nation.
oh, well, I don't represent my
if
nation,
you're
so I'm
just
saying
at-
it for me personally.
If you're just at a baseball game,
Yeah, Joe Schmo.
Yeah,
doesn't
and they
wanna
stand
sing,
up and you decide
whatever.
you don't want to, or the players don't sing, or you decide you don't want to sing in the audience.
Right.
You don't have a problem with that.
Right.
So
It's
that's what you're saying.
between myself and that flag
Right.
in that moment. If I'm
Hey.
just in civilian clothes, doing my thing, attending a football game, whatever,
On a
that's something
quick
I take heart from. I'm not looking around being like, you better start singing, motherfucker. You know,
Oh, but I could see that though.
No, I
no,
understand.
I
you being in
honestly, I never
uniform.
would.
Uh,
Yeah.
It's not
To each
something
their
I
own.
would project onto somebody else like that.
Okay. My belief is being in uniform, representing my country in a sports minded situation, not a military one, but a sports minded situation. I would still be grateful for your service because I feel like it would allow me the ability to silently protest in uniform, a sports uniform. And I apologize. I didn't express that because I was taking that as like it was just expected because of the conversation we're having. That ability exists here in a country and not other countries, and respecting the fact that it can occur in this country and no other country, but not in certain countries, because we do have something called freedom. And so that's why I guess I don't have this affinity with being frustrated. And again, taking their play out of it. And I know you're making that correlation, and I respect that, and that's fine. It's just this particular element. I don't think it makes them less appreciative. I don't think it makes them less honored. And I don't think it makes them less patriotic to levy the voice in the way that they're doing it. And if they were to stand at a mic and go, I respect every military person because what they have done affords me the ability to make this protest. Thank you. Would that change anything for you?
No, no, not at all. And let me turn that on its head. We all know they can choose not to. That's the beauty of this country, is we know they can choose that.
You're saying don't do it.
Right. But they chose to not do it.
Be smarter.
Not because there was any threat, not because, oh God, I'll get cut from the team, like to choose to do it or not do it. They know they can not do it and that the world's not going to come to a halt, but they chose not to. And so that's why I take issue with it. And I don't care what comes out of their mouth afterward of, well, my father was in the military, or, I got a lot of love. I don't fucking care. I don't.
Quite frankly, that makes it a little bit worse for me.
Right.
But,
I mean, here we are, we serving our nation in different capacities. And I keep coming back to one of the things that drives me nuts is when you don't give more than you take. And that was a big thing of this country was kind of built on. Now, all right, we can unpack that philosophy or whatever, but that's a mentality that leads to great teams. So when everybody's going, how do I give more? What are we doing this for? Like what's right here that's making me go a little harder each match and play for that team? I'm not seeing it. Not seeing it. And that's why I reacted the way I did.
And that's fine. Like I said, I perfectly understand your position. I even said I agree with it. I was just throwing out things in terms of the approach going, well, what if? And how about this? And so look, they're looking for equality in pay. They're looking for equality in rights. I think Megan even said part of her thing is the transgender aspect, and should they be allowed to compete? I don't know the other players. I mean, I've seen players during national anthems, all countries, and there are certain players not singing when the camera's panning by them, and you don't know, is that purposeful? Are they doing it on purpose, or is it just I'm just not singing? I'm in the moment. I'm about to play a major fucking game. It's important, and I'm focused. Do I think of the 11 people, 3 were singing, that means 8 weren't? Were all 8 doing it in protest? I don't know. I couldn't find anything that said. The only person I saw was Megan Rapinoe, where it was absolutely in protest. No one else that I saw was cited as they were not singing for that reason. So I don't know.
And I think one key call out here, and I'll speak for the group, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think any of us are saying that they should not have what they're trying to protest, right? The equal rights, the equal pay. I think we would all agree that that is absolutely something that needs to be addressed,
especially when they're high performers.
Yeah, this is just not the way to do it. I think is the problem that most of us have.
And that's the thing. And I know Haas said that early on. This is the wrong place. And I would challenge you. Well, what's the right place? I don't know. What avenues may they have already tried that were unsuccessful and they were left no other option? I don't know. And so those are the questions that you would ask going, well, have you done this? Have you done that? No. Well, then maybe you were left no alternative. I don't think Colin Kaepernick, and I know it's a different situation, wanted to shit away his entire career because he thought, I am making a show of support and solidarity for a belief that I have. And I don't think he did it thinking this is going to end up punishing me financially, my career. And yet that happened. And I don't think I won't, my assumption is that none of these women did it with the belief that they would be in this situation either. So, or they may just be, they just may hate America. I fucking don't know. I can't speak for them.
It's just one of those, like, you know me, I'm like a believer in, like, I'm not taking issue with the what, I'm taking issue with the how.
Right.
And so,
And
like,
in this case, the where.
Is that the smartest place? Because they eroded a lot of really goodwill by this being the headline. Because there's nothing else really to grab onto with this team. Have they scored like what, one goal?
Well, they scored three against
Vietnam,
and one against
3-1 and 0.
Is that
Netherlands?
One against the Netherlands, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked Grinch if they were, winning all of these games 6-7-0, 6-1. Would you be as frustrated right now? And you said yes, so that was the end of that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't know. I mean, these were certainly hot takes, but even after the hot take, I still am in that position of how I feel.
Right.
It just seems to go hand in hand with the focus. Now they come out, they're on fire, whatever. They still don't sing. I mean, they're playing at like 3 a.m. anyway, so I'm getting like the 1-minute summary of the game
right
at this point. So it's just,
because the next, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna my day is gonna be just fine tomorrow.
Right.
It's not like it's the end of the world. I just don't think it's the right thing.
Yeah. The three horsemen will continue to ride in a spirited debate.
Absolutely, you will.
In circles or zigzag, but
in zigzags.
Like the women's national team, you'll have to find another platform, but that's okay.
We'll have to find somebody to edit.
You said the three horsemen?
We'll have to find somebody to edit and post it to that platform.
You'd be like, hey, Thor, hey, buddy.
Yeah. Can we still contract you for that?
We'll have him on our phone and just have him up here.
And look, that's the beauty of doing this, is it is different perspectives. And it's fine that the three of you have that position and that mine may be different. I don't dispute the things that you guys are saying. I just, in terms of the platform, I guess I can understand some of that frustration. I know it's different, but again, the correlation of using the platform at your disposal, it's like the Oscars. Like everybody that gets up now and wins an award feels like they have to espouse something when they're standing at the microphone, and it's just like, and people go, is this the time and place?
Just thank your mom and dad and the director.
Get the fuck off stage.
Yeah,
because
stop patting yourself on the back.
Right, you're a guy that just made $30 million making a movie. You won an award, and now you're going to tell me it's like for fuck's sake. So I mean, I do get that aspect, but again, they levy the platform at their disposal, and this just happens to be the largest platform they're ever going to have in terms of the sport that they're in.
Yeah, I mean, the die's cast.
Yes.
So it is what it is. It's not like they're going to stop doing it or it's can undo it. So
right.
Well, and the point is that they can do it. That's what makes this country so great. But they should realize that this country is great, and they shouldn't do that.
Well, it's like
as we say all the time.
What's the whole thing? Just because you
Jurassic Park, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Right? Just because you could doesn't mean you should.
You should.
Exactly.
And we also say, you can say anything you want.
You're wrong.
That doesn't mean there aren't consequences.
That's right. Be prepared for the repercussions.
And yes, I think if Sunday's match against Sweden at 6 a.m., if anybody's watching, if they lose that and go home and they get bounced that early, this is going to be I think what you're saying, Grinch, in terms of these types of issues, that's all we're going to hear about. Now, if they go on and they win the whole thing, they decide to show up, it'll just disappear.
Winning makes things better. It does.
Yeah. You asked that earlier, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, if they were winning, it would definitely be helping the cause of what they're trying to do. But because they're not, to Grinch's point, it clearly shows a correlation between these two things going hand in hand.
They've lost the plot.
And so maybe stop focusing on this stuff that you can, do later, and actually focus on the professional reason of why you're here.
And just to call myself out on my logic fallacy, these two things are occurring together. That doesn't mean one is causing the other.
Right.
The correlation fallacy is a real thing. I get that.
Damn right it does.
So
Don't cave in now, Grinch.
Okay. Oh, his position's not changing. He's just making.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You say correlation. It could be causation.
I mean, could be. We don't know. I mean, my only statement was I didn't see anything in Carly Lloyd's interview speaking about play versus national anthem. That's why I was asking, did he come there on his own?
Well, what I hooked into was her statement that kind of headlines the article, which is
arrogance.
You can see their arrogance. I mean, it's like they feel like they're just going to stay at the top based on what previous teams have done, and that's not how it works.
Because what her comments were basically after the end of this match, they were like dancing and singing and celebrating, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on, what are you celebrating?
Right.
Like you were away from like being on a plane ride home.
Right. Portugal dominated that match.
Yeah.
Save the goalpost.
Should have won 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Save the goalpost, you would be taking a plane ride home. But they got a stay of execution, and they've got one more match, and they're just going to have to play it one match at a time and pray to God they get the ship corrected, righted, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I guess it's.
I don't know about you guys. I've always enjoyed watching the women play more than the men because of the heart, the passion, the tactical approach, I just overall enjoy watching them play more. I always have for years. And it's only been recently that I've had more hope with the men's team, but this year it's just not fun to
They're
watch.
looking
It's
more
not
like the men's
enjoyable.
team.
Yeah,
They are. I mean, honestly, it's funny you say that. I mean, that's
No
really
identity.
the vibe I've been feeling is the men's team suffered for years because people who needed to be moved off stayed on the roster because of legacy and whatever. And, oh, by the way, did you see Bruce Arena got relieved?
No.
From like inappropriate comments or something.
I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, but that feels like the culture in the ring. Like everybody is revolving around a couple of people. They're setting the mental tone for that team in the ring, and their head's not on the right and in the right place. I mean, it seems weird to me to be thinking about being in the locker room when everybody's like, "Yes, we're not singing again." Yeah, like it's just weird.
Right.
It's just weird, Like you said, I agree. I've seen people not sing because you can tell they're just like
super focused.
I'm in the zone. Oh my God, never thought I'd get here. I get that.
Yeah.
But just staring stupidly, while they're anyway. All right, I've said it.
And it doesn't help when the camera's panning by the other team and they're all singing, right? That just magnifies the fact that you're not. So I get that. I guess for me, we don't walk in women's shoes. Well, maybe you don't. I know I don't personally.
Hey, buddy, you don't know what I do.
Some of us dance in women's shoes.
Yes, you do, and your moves are on point. We don't live in that world. We don't have to deal with the things they deal with, and I think for me, when we say equality, I'm not expecting women to make, because Haas, you said this. Your pay is based on what you're bringing to the table, the revenue that you make, and so on and so forth. So you're not expecting them to get paid the same, but let's just level the playing field a bit.
Agreed.
And maybe if we were doing that, then this other antic bullshit would be gone, and we wouldn't have to worry about that. Now, we're not going to right all the wrongs today or tomorrow, but it's just like at some point, and Haas, you mentioned it, World Cup money in 2006, 2007, FIFA were paying the men's side, 32 teams. The pot was 236 million. That was the money that was brought in that would be farmed out. And of course, those ratios, if you're playing, you get X amount. If you win, you get X amount, if you win the whole tournament. And then a certain amount of that money goes back to all of the confederations and it gets divvied up. However, they were making 236 million in 2006. The following year, women were making 5.8 million. So now we fast forward to this year. In 2022, the men are making 440 million. In 2023, the women are making 110 million. So that's a huge increase.
That's a huge bump up. Yeah, greatly.
What FIFA came out and said, what's his name? Infantino, whatever the guy's name is, the head of fucking
Infante or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. 49 million will be divvied up because this is the first year there are 32 teams fielded in the Women's World Cup. That's never happened before. They said 49 million will be passed off to the teams. That can be divvied up. Anybody playing is going to get paid 30 grand for the entire tournament. You get paid 30 grand. If you're the winning team, you get paid 220,000 per player. The rest of the money gets sent off to the confederations, and the confederations get to decide what happens to that money. The players may never see any of that, which I think is a little fucked up, but I understand, because the same thing happens with men. But I know we're saying, oh, well, almost 50 million is going to the women, but that's now getting divvied up over 32 teams, however many players for each team get, are brought
Again,
there.
Rome wasn't built in a day,
Right.
and
We're
100
making
million
strides.
versus 100 million versus 5 million.
5
is a hell
million.
that's a hell of a
Yes.
stride.
Yes, because you had said they are closing the gap, and you are 100% correct. They are, but clearly women don't feel that we're quite there yet. So who knows what will happen 4 years from now, depending on where things at. Megan won't be playing, so you won't have to worry about her not singing the national anthem, because she's already come out and said this is going to be her last World Cup. So, the women still got to get through this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, Grinch, any other thoughts before we close the book on this one?
No, I said.
Mac, what about you?
I mean, the only other thing I got to say is I'd like to see you try that in a small town.
Not singing the
teaser.
Let's be honest. I've been in some small towns. They don't even know the national anthem, and you couldn't understand it through the missing teeth anyway. So it's fine.
Wow, we just alienated all of our listeners, probably.
All three of them.
Haas, what about you, brother?
No, I think we left it all out on the field.
Okay. Oh, nice. Because you look like you were hard looking up something, like you wanted. You were trying to find something.
I was just looking at some of the players, because I know a majority of the roster, but there was some of the roster I actually wasn't as familiar with. Like, do you realize Dennis Rodman's daughter is one of the players?
I did not know that.
Trinity Rodman. Yeah.
No, didn't know that.
Yeah.
She all tattooed up too, like her dad?
She's
hang out in North Korea?
She does not. No.
Okay.
Apparently, no. Nope. No, I was just kind of. I knew some of the players. I was kind of looking at maybe some of the age differences and stuff to kind of see maybe if that was part of it. And yeah, I don't know. That's all. I was just looking at that.
Gotcha. Look, it was a good one, and I appreciate you guys coming to the table. Grinch, thanks for making a comment, which sparked this entire thing. Continue to do
Happy to
that,
help.
and we'll be just fine.
In between cutting yourself.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
At the end
What
of
a
the
day.
day, just what, sing the fucking national. Just move your mouth. Who gives a fuck? I mean, you can be saying "fuck you, America." Nobody's gonna know. Just move your mouth, and all this shit will go away. Grinch will be happy. He's not gonna know. He can't
No, I
read
read
lips. Oh, yeah.
I
Okay.
was going to say,
I
please
saw
don't
where you were
listen.
going
The
with that.
other lips.
He goes out and he hires language experts.
What are they
lip-reading
saying?
experts.
Rewind that.
We hold nothing back here. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate it. It was another good one. You know what? Just sing the national anthem. You know what? Just win the fucking World Cup, and let's call it a day. Make it 3. Okay, you got to make it 3. Let's be done with it. As always, for anybody that would love to contribute, drop us a line at the fullhorseman@aspiritedebate.com. We'd love to hear from you, how you feel about singing the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, going to church. Does that make you a better Christian? Which is neither here nor there, and it's not part of this topic, so forget I said that. If there's a drink you'd like to try, a topic you'd like to debate, go ahead and drop it there. Love to hear from you. Like to know. We can always try it. Gentlemen, as always, thank you so much. Love doing this week in and week out, and we'll do this
Love you
again
guys.
next week.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Peace out.
The views, information, or opinions expressed during the A Spirited Debate podcast series or any affiliated podcasts are solely those of the hosts or guests involved and do not represent those of people, institutions, or organizations that the host or guests may or may not be associated with in a professional or personal capacity, unless explicitly stated. While guests are invited to listen, listeners acknowledge that they are not being provided professional advice from the podcast or its guests. The content within the parameters of a Spirited Debate podcast series, or any affiliated podcast, are for entertainment and educational purposes only. Any views or opinions are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or individual.